Yeah, so this is practice. Okay, stress to your students that we're not doing this here, because when they see this, they're probably not going to be very happy or excited about doing this. Okay. How are you feeling, both of you? Feeling well? You had a bit of a break. Ready to learn?
Had a Snickers.
Had a Snickers. Got some nuts. Good. So yeah, re-stress practice for planning. So today we're learning how to safely land an aircraft following partial or a total engine failure on an unprepared surface. Now, what is an unprepared surface? Well, it's just anything that's not a runway, basically, right?
Yeah.
I suppose if there was a road big enough and wide enough, but applies anywhere that's not a runway.
Just still unprepared though, if it was a road.
That's what I mean. It's technically that's a prepared surface, right? But it'd still be the same situation. You're still doing all of these maneuvers. So by the end of this brief, you should be able to recall the common engine failure causes. So what would end up put us in this situation? Describe the immediate or any of the vital actions that we would do following an engine failure. We'll have a look at the factors that affect choosing a suitable landing area. Because the screen's bigger now, so I have to stand further away.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would look longer here. So, and then we'll look at how to plan a flight approach to a selected landing area. And now this will be very similar to the circuit lessons that you would have already done, because you've already done circuits at this point in your training. And we'll apply everything that you already know with that circuit to this here. And then we'll look at Mayday call and the passenger brief. Have you heard of what a Mayday call is before? Anyone like that? Yeah? Some people, even if they're not in aviation, they still know what a Mayday call is. So just try and get an understanding of what your students up to.
Yeah.
Because that, if you don't know what that is, that's pretty a weird thing to hear. So we'll cover that anyway in the briefing. Cool. So we'll look at causes and prevention for an engine failure. Now, the main reason that you're going to do a PFL is if you have a total engine failure, you need to land as soon as possible. So what's going to cause an engine failure? Well, oil issues. Now, how can we prevent oil issues from happening?
Check up that oil.
Fuel check.
And then
Operate engine.
sufficient oil, oil leaks.
Yep. So we can, what part of the flight would we check that sort of stuff?
Pre-flight.
Cool. Flight.
So we want to check, I might just stand here because I need to see this screen. We need to check that during the pre-flight. Another cause can be fuel.
Yeah.
So we've got different types of causes based on fuel.
Yeah.
One of those is starvation, contamination, and exhaustion.
Yeah.
Now, what would fuel exhaustion mean?
Right.
Aaron, is that okay?
Yeah.
What about contamination?
Water,
Probably
fuel.
different fuel. It's
Yeah.
mix.
Wrong fuel.
Yeah, could definitely be the wrong type of fuel that would cause problems. The main one that you're going to see in aviation is...
Jet fuel or gas mix.
Sorry, that was
Water.
that was a bad question, yeah. The main type of contamination, and that's my bad, so just be careful how you word the questions, because you assumed that I meant the main type of fuel that's used in aviation, but I actually meant the main type of contamination. So yeah, water is the main thing that you'll see.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Well, firstly, how would we know if there's water in our fuel? Or in KCB, how do we know if there's fuel in our water?
When you check
Find it.
in the pre-flight.
Yeah, and how do we check?
Is in the dry
Cool.
points.
What are we looking for when we look at that drain? You know, when we drain the fuel into the cup, what do we look for in there?
For the color, it's supposed to be blue / any water
It
that
should be
settles at the
consistent with
bottom.
Yeah.
No changes or.
Moving this fucking table around, right? Where would the water be? Would it be on top or below the fuel?
On top.
Below fuel.
Oh. The different answers. Who's going to jump off the cliff?
It's always going to be below.
Hey?
It's going to be below all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, water will be on the bottom.
Okay.
More
Why is
dense. More dense.
More.
Right. Alright, and yeah, exhaustion, you don't want to run out of fuel. How can we confirm how much fuel we have in the aeroplane?
Dipstick?
Dipstick, time, and
Fuel gauge?
fuel gauges.
Next one is mechanical fuel pump failure. Now, can we prevent a mechanical fuel pump failure?
No.
Probably not.
Sure.
Just can use it when required.
Mm-hmm. But if it's a mechanical fuel pump, can you choose when you use that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, right. It's electric it.
It is engine driven.
Yeah, mechanical is engine driven.
Can you switch the engine driven fuel pump off?
No.
So how can we prevent that failure? Think broadly, not just in flight.
Probably operate the engine within its limitation.
Okay, that's one of them. That definitely is important. How do I know before I even step foot in the aircraft that something's not going to blow up on it or fail on me?
Run-up checks.
Yeah, that's also one of them. Not the answer I'm looking for, but it is correct. Okay,
Signs of oil leak, etc.
let's look at. We go up to the aeroplane.
Yeah.
How do you know that it's airworthy?
Check for signs of damage.
MR,
Yep. What's an MR?
maintenance release.
Okay.
So make sure it's hasn't exceeded its hourly 100 hourly or 50 hourlies.
Yeah.
And nothing's been reported on the MR.
Okay. That's it. If we have a mechanical fuel pump or engine-driven fuel pump failure, we can use the electric fuel pump if fitted. Otherwise, we could. I don't even know what we would do other than that. I mean, Whiskey in the Day doesn't even have fuel pumps on it, so probably not going to have that problem. Next thing is rough running. So partial engine failure is what we call this. Prevention for rough running, or well, not a prevention, but how can we check if we have rough running and check what's causing that?
Check the fuel.
Yep. During the flight, let's say the engine starts to run rough, what would you check?
Mixture.
Yep.
Fuel quantity, like selection, tank selection.
Okay, let's say we've got plenty of fuel and it's flying well.
Carbon heat.
There was two in once, what did you say?
Magneto.
Okay, what did you say?
Carbon heat.
Yeah, it could be carb heat as well if you've got icing, but main thing that all of those answers I think are applicable. The main thing I'm looking for is magnetos, but I wouldn't say any of those are wrong in any way.
Yeah.
And a complete mechanical failure, how can we prevent that? Something you said earlier.
MR.
And then something that is correct, and something else as well that you said.
Operating engine within its specified
Parameters.
Yeah.
parameters.
So we don't want to redline the engine and, you know, put full power in and dive towards the ground, because it'll probably blow the engine and die. So that's something that's kind of important to be teaching up your students, because, you know, I mean, there's overspeed projection, that sort of thing, but we're talking about an aeroplane, it's very bare bones, so we don't really want to get them to operate outside of those ranges as well. If you get an engine failure and you've done all of those things, you've checked everything, you've looked after the engine, and you get an engine failure, then that's just bad luck. And that's why we try and minimize or mitigate those risks. Cool, so some PFL, why is this revision? Oh, it's revision because you would have already done the emergency circuits when you've got engine failure in the circuit. But just to go over these, I mean, you should know these as commercial pilots. Whatever you want to use, tell me how you, Aaron, tell me how you would check the initial checks on an engine failure.
First step would be to trim the aircraft to the best glide speed.
Just engine failure, so just the checks. So don't worry about glide speed for now. How would you verify with the engine and the aircraft itself after an engine failure? What's the first thing you check?
Magnetors.
Okay.
I got fuel, mixture, throttle, magnetos.
Yep.
And alternate air on.
Okay. Dean?
Yeah, just left to right and down. So
Like a flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The flow.
So mags, master, fuel, fuel selection, fuel shut off.
Okay. Cool. So we teach TAFM with a C on it, or it can be FC Mid or TCFMM, however you want to teach it, or whatever is applicable to the aircraft. So I don't know if you've seen one like this before. However you learn it, you're welcome to teach it, but we also teach a flow as well. As long as you do the flow like this, you work from the fuel gauge up to the fuel shut-off, up to the mixture, to the throttle, over to switches, magnetos, key, up to your temperatures and pressures, and then your fuel tanks. If you do that flow, you should be able to cover everything pretty much. So give them something to work with because they might miss things on this. So if you say TCFMM, you've got throttle, we'll pump that, check various settings, carburetor heat we can apply because we might have carb icing. Fuel, so we can check the fuel is sufficient, and then we can put the pump on if we have it equipped. Mixture, we'll check various settings. Magnetos, we can check the key, various settings as well. And remember, these are touch drills. This is what we want to teach our student in the aircraft, that we basically just, if we're going to touch them, we can either point at them or just touch the top of them and just say, okay, fuel, mixture, throttle, mags, and then we don't have to actually adjust anything because as I said, I don't want to cause an actual engine failure during a simulated engine failure. And I'll go through this, we'll warm the engine with the throttle every 500 feet during this maneuver, but I'll go through that with you in a second. So some considerations when you're picking a suitable field, so wind, or some ways you can determine where the wind is going if you're picking a field to land in.
The direction you took off from?
Yeah,
January?
definitely, yeah.
Smoke usually, if there's any smoke, water,
Chimneys.
bodies, we can show the.
Yeah, depends how high you are, if you can see the waves.
It's usually smoke.
Yep. Okay, so smoke, the airport that you take off from, where would that wind information be available if you took off from the airport? Sorry?
Okay, calf.
Yep, cool. So forecast, especially if you're out on a nav and you're flying away from the departure aerodrome, have a check of the forecast. If you've done, let's say you're on a PBL nav and you've got the wind for that leg, you can pretty much assume that the wind from where you are is going to be from that direction. And the very last one, we've got, what about something in the sky?
Cloud movements.
Yeah, cool. So we've got cloud shadows there as well, and wind lanes as well. But the main one that you're going to see is smoke and cloud in WA, and the forecast is going to be very useful if you don't have either of those. What about size? So have a look at this.
Yeah.
This is something that might be second nature to you as commercial pilots, but to an RPL student who doesn't have this experience, they're not going to be able to reference how wide the field is. So you can see this here is Jandakot at 1,000 feet, looks something like that. Forestdale Lake at 1,700 feet. You know it's longer, it looks smaller, and then Stalling Forest, this is just north of the Stalling Forest, and that's 1,600 meters. Because we're high up, it looks even smaller. So I know that sounds obvious to you, but to an RPL student, they might not be able to judge that accordingly. And I can tell you, the very first time you give them the opportunity for them to pick their own field, they'll have all of this open area, like these huge fields here, and they'll try and get into that fucking one right there.
I'm pretty sure I did that with
Yeah.
my first does.
So, just
I think the problem is you get fixated and then you tend to go for the first one you look at and you don't.
exactly.
Because you think you've got no time and you've got to go,
Yeah,
oh, fuck, that's it,
exactly.
I'm there. Like,
And that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons why it comes down to experience, because the more time you have flying the airplane, the more time you have actually in a glide, you can see the plane doesn't fall out of the sky. They would already know pretty much from circuit emergencies that we can glide for quite a long time, so, but what altitude are they going to be at in the circuit?
1,000 feet.
Yeah, over 1,000 feet. If they're at 1,500 feet and you just smack them over the head, tell them they're doing something wrong. But if they're gliding from 1,000 feet in the circuit, it doesn't last very long. They've probably got 20, 30 seconds before they're on the ground. Here, if you're at 3,000 or above, you've got quite a long time to play with. Another thing is get them to have a look on the other side of the airplane. First thing they're going to do is look out to the left, because that's what seat they're sitting in. But try to get them to have a look on the other side. There might be trees here and a really shitty small field there, and on the other side of them is all this open area. Next thing we'll look at is slope. So out of these two fields here. That's in the pole. I don't know about this, it's a Mexican drug cartel. Which direction would you want to land?
Up there.
Uphill.
Why?
Just for the nature.
Yeah, reduce length of the, less things to crash into. You
Yeah.
slow down quicker.
Yeah, exactly. You will stop sooner, you'll slow down quicker. Sounds obvious to us, but as I said, just check their understanding of this.
Yeah.
I don't know what they would come up with, but yeah. And what about surface as well? So we are pretty lucky here in WA. We've got a lot of, well, depends who you are, if it's lucky or not, but we've got a lot of dry land. Got a lot of dry land. So we don't really see much of this. We see more of that and more
Yeah,
of
bit of
that.
that in winter.
Oh, not last winter. It's pretty fucking dry.
Well, this week is dry as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, but based on these, we've got 4 fields. We've got one with those, I guess that's a ploughed field. This one here has got some bushes and some trees with some nice open area. This is a lovely green grass, nice and flat, very beautiful, very pretty. And this one here is dry with some dead shrubs in it. Which field would you pick?
What is that? The dry ones?
And we go the right.
The dry first.
Right.
That one?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Us
So those-
dry is not
Yeah, you can't see
on the
any
green one.
divots or changes in the surface underneath the grass.
On that one, the grass one.
Grass
Yeah,
one.
right.
Maybe what underneath.
Yeah, it could be water,
Okay.
boggy stuff.
So what? Yeah, as you said,
More predictable.
just on the grass one, you said that there's going to be water because grass needs water to grow.
Yeah.
So what can you expect to happen if we're going to put the aeroplane?
Aquaplaning.
Oh, I think it's
Oh,
going to
it's
be
gonna-
worse than that.
It's gonna
I
It'll
think
fog down.
Yeah.
Snapping.
if you go like that and you land on those wheels there and the nose wheel digs in, we're going to go like that. Okay, probably don't show that to a student because they might freak out.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get you thinking about these sorts of things.
Too many trees in the top one.
Yeah, it's probably not much space.
Sand is obviously boggy.
Okay, if it's really, really dry and you had to pick that field, which direction are you going to land in?
Parallel with the.
Okay, good. Just checking if that's you're not going to go the other way. Alright, cool. So yeah, this is definitely the best one to pick by far, but you have to just work with what you have available to you, okay? There's some places over the scarp where you've just got to pick an area with less trees. That doesn't mean there's no trees there, it just means that you might survive.
Yeah, I always hate flying. So even down, I remember down in Albany,
Yep.
I had to get, for my CPO, I had to get 5 more hours. So I did a long flight. I went from Albany to Manchmal.
Yep.
And it was literally just over like forest.
Yeah,
and I was
just
like,
forest, yep.
the whole time I was
Manchmal's
literally
surrounded.
just looking for like any kind of road or something, like, alright, engine failure there, and then the next one, engine failure there, like,
Yep.
there's just nothing. Like, if you
Yeah.
do have one, you're pretty much,
Yeah, you're fucked, yeah.
they're big fucking trees
Yeah,
out there
they're
too.
huge. Manmouth is like in the middle and there's just trees
Yeah.
completely around it. It's just fun.
But it was like a good solid 45 minutes of just over forest,
Oh, yeah.
like high.
It's not where you want to be. It's
When I came to Manchmal and it was a fucking 30 knot crosswind.
oh yeah. Right.
So that was pretty fun. But
Yep. So, and tell those stories to your students so that they know how to deal with that sort of thing and what they're going to expect when they're doing forced landings and what they're going to do on the PPL now. If they're going for their PPL or they're going for an RPL navigation endorsement, tell them this stuff so they're aware of it. Because if they don't have the experience that you have, or they don't even have, you got to think about it. We are so surrounded and involved in aviation because we've been doing it for how many years. We've got our licenses. We know people in aviation, right? So we hear stories from Hubert or wherever else.
Yeah.
But an RPL student might not have connections in aviation. They don't even know these stories, and what they don't know, they don't know. So
yeah, I tend to try every 10 to 15 minutes just find a new spot
yeah,
as my new reference point. But,
yeah. Sometimes when it's impossible, that's when you start shooting yourself.
Yeah.
Can't find anywhere. You're like, oh, that might not kill me. I don't think it's going to be a good landing, but
Yeah.
all right, surroundings as well. Now, as I said before, you remember when I pointed out that small little field with the like no space in it? They're going to try and land in that. They're also going to try and land in a field that's got a fucking power line in it. There's going to be all these fields around you, and they're going to try and go for the one with a big power line because they won't see it.
Yeah.
So we have the instinct to look around and see that sort of stuff. They don't know what it looks like from the sky. because they don't know what they're looking for. So point out, you might get these ball things on the lines, they're pretty good indicators of where they are. Have a look for the towers, because they're not going to be able to see these lines very well from up high. Go away. And cows as well. I mean, in reality, it's going to be like crashing into a wall if you get one of those.
Okay.
And for the PFLs, probably a good idea if you don't do a field with loads of cows in it, because you don't want to piss off the locals, you don't want to annoy the farmers and stuff like that. We try to fly neighbourly, try and introduce that sort of thought process to the students, that just because we're practicing doesn't mean we can just be an asshole about it. We've got to be quiet and respectful to other people. Just that sort of thing. Situation. So, out of this area here, we'll start with Aaron. Where would you pick? If you're flying over, you've got plenty of altitude, you can pick anywhere on here. You can pick fields. Just let me know where you land, basically. Do one at a time.
Probably land one that's rectangular closer to the road.
Like this one here?
Yeah.
Or which one?
That one there.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because there's, in case I land and I topple over, whatever, there is help
Okay.
closer to the road.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably pick the same one. It's a little bit drier.
Dry, so I know.
And you've
That
got
one? Or this
no,
one?
that one as
Okay.
well. And then you've got the house there.
Yep.
You've got people there to assist
Okay.
if you need.
Why not? Why not this nice little road there that's paved? Or this nice sealed gravel surface? Why wouldn't you land there?
Oh, I said maybe there's smaller trees or power lines on the side. It's
Okay.
some kind of a road.
There's no trees there, there's no power lines, and it's dry, and it's long enough. Let's say it's long enough.
But you've got that lake there,
Okay.
Dan.
Right. What about that one then? There's no lake there.
The trees, close.
Okay, let's say you come in here and you land that way. There's no trees.
Yeah.
What's the main reason why you're picking this one here? Subconsciously.
Because it's close to people.
Okay, there you go. So if you come over here and you land and you fuck it up somehow, or the wheel collapses and you break both your legs and you're stuck in the plane, especially if it's late at night or early in the morning, nobody's going to be coming to find you or rescue you, unless you've got an ELT or you manage to send a mayday call out, something like that. Hopefully they will find you, but it might take a while.
Yeah.
If you land over here, or this one here, I know this one's a bit darker, but anywhere around here, you're next to houses, next to a road, someone's going to see you, so someone's going to come and find you. So just stress that to your students. But yeah, good. Somewhere around those lines. Cool. So we'll talk about the PFL itself. So you're flying along, everything's happy, and then bang, your engine blows up. First thing we're going to do is immediate actions. So we want to fly the aircraft. Don't stop flying the airplane. Something happens. We want to maintain control.
Yeah.
So first thing we're going to do is set our glide speed. What's our glide speed?
65.
Now you can either, it's your choice in how you want to teach this and how you taught yourself. You can exchange your excess speed for height, or you can just maintain your altitude and hold until you get 65 knots. It's up to you. The benefit of exchanging your speed for height is that you'll get a little bit more altitude to play with, but it just depends where you are in that situation. If you're right at below controlled airspace when you're showing this lesson, you probably wouldn't want to decline. So the way we teach it is just maintain your altitude for 65.
That's fine.
Yeah, so it's up to you. First thing we want to do after we've got the aircraft set up, sorry, one other thing that's not on there, 65 knots in Whiskey Lima Tango is going to be trim all the way up. So you're going to roll that trim wheel down all the way, and if you let go of the yoke, it probably should stay roughly around 65, 68, so you won't have to hold the yoke all the way up.
So you're hitting the trim stop.
Yeah, on Whiskey Lima Tango. I don't know about KXW, it's not, it's a bit before that, but Whiskey Lima Tango is literally just the stop of the trim. Then we do initial checks. So the very first thing we want to do after we've got the aircraft flying nicely and under control is figure out what's wrong with the engine and see if we can fix it, and hopefully get it restarted so that we don't have to land in a field. So we're going to look at our TFMM or our flows, whatever you want to do. Throttle, pump, alternate air we can check or carburetor heat on. Fuel, check sufficient, use the electric fuel pump as required. And then mixture, we want to check various settings, and magnetos as well. We've already covered that stuff. The very next thing we want to do is pick a field. So we've got those S's that we discussed.
Yeah.
So out of here, we're going to pick that field right in the middle. But we're going to base it on all those S's that we discussed before. So size, slope, surface, around, situation. Just have a think about those things when you pick a field, and consider wind as well, wherever the smoke is blowing. So let's say there's some smoke there, so we know which way we're going to be landing.
Into the wind. The direction is flying at the moment.
Yeah, nice. So that's going to be our field. So we've got a landing area. Now, we're going to work backwards, always work backwards. There's no point working from where you are at the moment, because if we're picking a field, we need to work out. And it's going to look very similar to something that you're used to, which is the circuit. So our aiming point is going to be a third of the way down the runway.
Yeah.
We tell that to a student, but me asking you as a CPL, so why do we pick a third of the way down the runway?
Just redundancy, if you don't make it that far,
Okay.
you've got
So yeah,
something.
if I'm low on final, at least I'm still going to make a field. If I'm high, hopefully you take laps anyway. And if I put my aim point here and I'm low and there's trees here, I'm going to hit it. So if they ask you, that's why. Then we're going to work backwards. So let's out from our final, we go onto our base, and we've got this turning point here. We're going to be around 1,000 feet. And the way we teach it at Revesco, and I'm not sure if it was the same when, did you go to golf, did you train at golf fields?
No.
No. Did you train at golf fields?
Yeah.
So the way we taught it at Revesco, and probably similar in golf fields, is that these are areas. A lot of flight schools teach these as points. So they say, okay, there your low key point, there your high key point. It's very restrictive because it means that you have to be bang on there at that altitude and bang on there at that altitude. It's not going to happen. So we say area. Anywhere in this general vicinity is 1,500. Anywhere in this general area here is 2,500. It gives you a little bit of leeway, and it's more realistic as well. So we pick a nice short final. Why do we pick a short final?
So like what happened to me yesterday or the other day is like slightly, so I don't really gonna have a long final.
Yep. So
You don't
that's
understand
the main consideration.
Probably just
I will just make a field
Yep.
in case of a stronger headwind.
Okay, so why would the headwind be stronger on final rather than base, for example? It's not a trick question, it's very obvious.
Because it's going across, so base is gonna be.
What are you referring to?
So why is the headwind on final
Because you
so much stronger than base?
Because you're landing into the wind.
Okay, that's it. That's it. We're picking an area to land into the wind. So if we've got a 40-knot wind coming this way,
Yeah.
and we've got a final that comes all the way over here,
Yeah.
I'm going to get pushed all the way down really, really fast. I'm going to get to here, turn around, and I'm going to crash into the trees. So you need to explain this to them because they're not going to understand it unless you walk them through it like that.
Yeah.
We have a short base, kind of as well. It's a little bit tighter than a normal circuit, but it looks pretty similar. Now, what we can do is, and I'll discuss this further on, we can extend our base if necessary.
Yeah.
Cool, so our 1,000 feet area is pretty much the turning point. We've got a 1,500 foot low key area, and that's pretty much parallel to our landing area, somewhere around there. And then upwind of our landing area, we have a 2,500 foot high key area. That area there, as we discussed, we want a short final because we don't want to be too low and too far away from the field when we're on final. So anything behind this turning point is going to be what we call a no-go zone. And that means you do not go into the no-go zone, okay?
Yeah.
Stresses these students, you can even try and ask them questions to say, okay, if I'm high here, can I go here? And they'll probably tell you yes, and you say, but I've just fucking told you not to, okay?
It says no go zone.
Yeah, it says no-go zone for a reason. We never go in there. It doesn't matter if you're high here, you don't go here because you won't make the field, okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So, we've had our engine failure, we've done our initial actions, we picked our field, we picked our points, we worked backwards. Some considerations for you are the ground elevation, and if you can, make left-hand turns. Now, does that mean that you can't make right-hand turns?
You can.
You can.
Okay. But
It's
try.
just- Yeah.
Why would we want to make left-hand
Because
turns?
you do it more often than a right, like a right-hand circuit.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's true because the standard circuit is a left direction.
You
Plus
have
it's,
vision.
you got.
I have vision, yes, I can see. I have vision.
Now
What vision do I have?
Vision of where you, like, in the turn, you're not losing.
Side of
Because you're looking straight out the window.
Okay, but I can see from the window from where I'm sitting on the other side.
You just have better for you.
Because of what? What's different about the student in the aeroplane and us in the aeroplane?
Because they're going to be sitting on the
Shoot
left hand
something.
side.
Yeah, that's it. They're just sitting on the that's as simple as that. They can see out the left hand side much better than out the right hand side. And you will see this, I guarantee in the lesson when you're teaching it, you're going to have to pick a point out to the left and you're going to have to imagine what's through, you have to basically get x-ray vision and see through the aeroplane because there's going to be a seat here, there's going to be the side of the fuselage, and then you're going to have to basically plan an approach for landing here and you can't see it. So you wouldn't expect a student to be doing that.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about. Now, ground elevation, why is that important?
For your low key and high key areas.
Yep, well, for all the areas.
Yeah.
It applies to the landing area, applies to the turning point, applies to low key, high key. But why is it important?
Because it's your height above the ground, so it's measures out like your circuit, it's your circuit height essentially.
Yeah.
Using altimeter for your reference, though, you can calculate your circuit height.
Yeah.
1500 is going to be 1800 if the elevation is 300 feet.
Yeah, okay, that's correct. So that is how you would use your elevation. But the question is, why is it important?
Because that's when you hit the ground.
Okay. So for a student to calculate these sorts of things out,
You're going to add it to that.
yeah, and it's important because we need to make sure that we're at these altitudes and you explain to them the difference between above ground level and above main sea level.
Yeah.
What is it displayed on the altimeter?
Sea level.
Okay. How would you find the ground elevation?
Map.
What map?
Whack,
Atlas.
whack, VTC.
Okay, cool. So explain that to them as well, how you, because otherwise they're just going to assume that you're some sort of magician, you know what the ground elevation is by looking outside.
You know out there it's roughly.
9900 feet.
You do, but they don't.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
They don't know any of this stuff. This is all so foreign to them. So you can tell them, oh, the elevation's about 99 feet. Let's call it 100 to make it simple.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for a 1,000 foot area?
1600, 1100,
And then
16,
And then-
26.
cool. And explain to them. Let's say we're over the scarp and we're in the middle of, over the hills, elevation there. What's that roughly?
600, 500.
Yeah, it gets higher than that at certain points. It's up to 1,000, maybe 1,300. Some of those peaks are really high. So let's say the elevation out there is at 1,000. If I don't factor in my ground elevation to these points here, what's going to happen?
Oh, too low.
So there's, yeah, we're going to be too low. Let's say ground elevation is 1,000 feet, but I'm picking these points based on my main sea level given to me by the altimeter.
You're going to hit the ground earlier.
I'm going to hit the ground there.
Yeah.
So really important that you explain this to them. So first thing we're going to do after this is track straight towards our high key area.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything between that one and that one? Oh no, just a 65 knots and then it goes away. Okay, cool. So stay close to selected field. Now we like to teach something called a 45-degree wedge. I don't know if you were taught that.
Yeah.
Seems to be a new thing.
No, no, hang on.
I wasn't taught it when I learned to fly. It's sort of just being taught here. Probably other flight schools as well. So let's say that's our field there. This is our what we call a 45-degree wedge. Now if you imagine you're sitting in the left-hand seat where your student is sitting and you look down like this at 45-degree angle, your field should be somewhere around there within that wedge. Okay? If you are there, you're too far away, right?
Yeah.
You're too low as well, so you're not going to make the field. You want to come a bit closer so you can see that 45-degree wedge. If you're up there, where are you in reference to the field?
Too high.
Yep, and you're too close. Is that okay? How would you fix that?
I just
Just turn out.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Gives
So
us more space.
you can keep the altitude,
Yeah.
but as long as you come out towards that 45-degree wedge, you're still going to be fine. So we're just going to move over a little bit. We'll be within that 45-degree wedge. As long as you keep that 45-degree wedge, you will make your airfield. Sorry, airfield, I mean field. It's not an airfield. Right, so track over your 2,500 foot high key area. If you get an opportunity, you can do some further checks, or we can do that later on. Communicate. So we need to let someone know that there's been a problem with the aircraft, and we need to, especially if we're going to be landing in the field, we want to be rescued. So remember that Mayday call we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
Cool. So in terms of the Mayday call, you say Mayday, 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 Whiskey Lima Tango, System 172, tell them what's happened, so engine failure, and where you are. So we're 5 miles south of Forestdale Lake, for example. It's 2 POV. Sorry? Oh, 2 POV. We've got, we're going to be landing in field, we've already said that. Squawking 7700 and ELT activated. So we don't have any ELT on Whiskey Lima Tango, but the reason why we're trying to get them to say squawking 7700 and ELT activated is to get them in the habit of actually, if in a real emergency, we'll prompt them to actually do it.
Actually putting it in the translator,
Yeah, well, we wouldn't want them to, hopefully not. But in the real emergency, if you train them to say that stuff out loud, they're going to say squawking 7700, then they'll do it, and then they'll activate the ELT at the same time. Whereas if you don't include that, they might forget those things, and they're quite important to be able to be found. Cool. So you would get them to practice that, you would get them to give that back to you. I'm not going to go through it, because I know you guys already know it. And then you can do a passenger brief. I like to hold, it says passenger brief next, I like to hold that off for now. Now, how many times have we checked the engine?
Every 500 feet should be.
Okay, so we've done those checks. Let's go back, so that's out of the way. That's the wrong way. So we're at this point here. We've done the initial checks. We've chosen a field. We've done our points, and we've communicated. So how many times have I verified the engine?
Once.
Once. Okay. Do you think it'd be important to do it one more time at least?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we want to make sure that the engine has actually failed, because the last thing we want to do is put a perfectly good aeroplane into a field that's going to be really bad for you. So why do we want to check again? If I've checked the first time, why would I want to check the second time?
Just to confirm.
Just to confirm, or
Yeah.
in case something's missed. in the
Yeah,
process.
exactly. So it's going to be stressful. You tend to miss things and not do everything accurately when you're under a lot of stress and there's a lot of things happening. You might have missed something. You could look down and you check it again and you realise that the mixture was either cut off or the fuel selector was on the left tank and you can put it back onto the right. So you always want to check at least twice. Now, an important thing to do, a lot of students do this, is they go straight for the Mayday call before they've done the initial checks. So just make sure that they check the engine once before they make or do the simulated Mayday call, because the last thing we're going to do is tell someone there's an emergency and they haven't even checked the engine, they've looked down, it could be anything, the key could be in your position. Cool. Tracking from our high key area, around 2,500 feet. Really important that we maintain 65 knots in these turns. Are we going to be doing level turns in a glide?
Probably no more than 15 degrees.
Yeah, so probably not level turns.
It's not level, it's probably nice.
What angle of bank are we going to use?
15 or 20, I think it is.
We haven't really done the stalling lesson yet, so it's kind of hard for me to ask these questions to you because it's not fair on you. But is there a risk of us doing a 45-degree descending turn in a glide?
Yep, because the load factor is going to increase and our starting speed is going to increase.
Okay. Where's the nose of the airplane pointing?
Yeah.
So as long as we maintain 65 knots.
We can still store it. It's
Because the load factor is going to obviously increase.
Yeah.
one wing is got a higher angle of attack.
Okay. Right. Well, my homework for you guys is to have a look at the stall speed for a 45-degree turn, level flight, and then have a think about how that would play out in a descending turn, not a level turn. Because those stall speeds are on a level flight. So have a look at, it won't tell you for a descending turn, but just have a think about it and try and understand the connection there, because they won't be the same. If in a level turn doing 45 degrees, you're doing this. We're in a glide doing 65 knots, you're doing this. So it's a bit different. Have a think about that anyway. Cool, so 65 knots, really important that we don't get them to maintain height here. By the way, you can do, I'd tell them to do 30 degrees if you want to for this. So if we're doing a 30-degree turn, we're going to be gliding, we've got no engine power. Now what's going to happen let's say the student's going to naturally want to fly a level turn, because that's what they do in the circuit, right? They get to crosswind, they turn downwind, and then they level off at 1,000, and they do level turns. When they get to this point, they do level turn. They don't do a descending turn, at least that's how I would teach it. So if they're naturally going to want to do a level turn at 65 knots in glide, is there a problem there?
Yeah, the
Reduce
airspace
range.
range decreases.
It's more on that level.
Or you could stall.
Yeah, cool. So the natural instinct is level turn. The nose needs to be down because we're maintaining 65 without power. So it's going to be a descending turn. So you need to make sure they keep that nose down and you're keeping an eye on the airspeed over there. 1,500 foot area, somewhere around here, and we keep flying all the way down. We've done our Mayday call, we've done our further checks, so TCFMM, the flow, however you want to do it. We get towards there, our 1,000 foot area, and we have a look back at the field. Any other considerations, like if the wind's changed, if the speed or the directions changed, and how far away are we from the field? So using that 45-degree wedge to appropriately judge that. We get to our base turn there. Other considerations, is it going to be a soft field, is it going to be a short field, a water landing, and get passengers briefed accordingly. So somewhere around here that I would do a passenger brief. So I would say, we've had an engine failure, we're going to be landing in this field here, point it out to them. Take any sharp objects, any glasses, pins or pens, that sort of thing, out of your pockets. Make sure your seatbelts done up nicely, and then open the door when I tell you to, and adopt that brace position when I tell you to. You should have briefed them appropriately before the flight. When we get on the ground, we're going to open the door, we're going to evacuate towards the rear of the aircraft when I tell you to. For now, can you just keep an eye out for traffic for me? Have a look outside and see if you can find any other airplanes. Now don't tell them, stay calm, because they're probably going to panic as soon as you say stay calm. If you just tell them exactly what's happened, we've had an engine failure, we're going to be landing in this field, I've practiced this many times before, just reassure them,
Yeah.
I've practiced this maneuver before, and give them something to do to keep their mind occupied. So tell them to look out for traffic, tell them, I don't know, have a look on this radio here and tell me if the numbers change.
Yeah.
Obviously the numbers aren't going to change on the radio, but you just give them something to occupy themselves.
Watch out for animals on there.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Just give them a task to do so that they feel involved and they feel a little bit calmer. The worst thing you can say is, please stay calm, because they're going to freak out straight away. Cool. So, that's the passenger brief. Now we're coming on to base. We're about 1,000 here, coming down here, lining up nicely. Some final checks as well. So that's the FMM checks. So we do fuel, comes off, mixture auto cut off, magnetos go off. Now do I take the master off straight away?
No.
Why not?
In case of flat. In case electrical flaps.
Cool. So if we had, sorry?
And radio.
Yeah, I suppose if you want to use a radio, but at this point we're already made a Mayday call, we'll probably be below the level which we could probably make a decent radio call, especially if we're out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, the main thing is we have electric flaps on the 172, so when if you're flying a Piper that doesn't have electric flaps, it's got hand flaps, then hand operated, then you don't really need the master at that point. So fuel off, mixture off, max off, and then just keep flying all the way down. It's just like a normal approach. Probably going to want to do a short ass off field landing. I think the next thing goes off into that point there, but I just want to cover a few things up here. Cool. Let's say I'm about here. Can I draw this thing? Hello? Yeah, I can. Yeah, let's say that's my airplane there. That's to make the wings a little bit bigger. I'm there, and at 1500, let's say I'm at 1700. What do I do?
Widen your turn.
This turn here,
Yeah.
I go like that.
No,
No, like
no.
track away from the airfield.
Away from the airfield.
Yeah.
So I go here, and then I go like that.
Yeah, that's one option. You can take flap.
Okay. I can take flap here, yep.
Landing gear.
Okay. Let's say we're in a fixed gear across like 172. With flap, I'm 1700 here, and I'm going to carry on taking flap, and I'm going to carry on going here. What's the problem of taking flap there?
Yeah, when we turn, it's gonna take more drag.
will it create more drag just in the turn, or is it going to create more drag throughout the level?
everywhere.
Sorry?
It's gonna create drag
Yeah.
all around.
It reduces your range.
Yeah, okay. But that's what we want, right? Because we want to sound. But why could that be a problem? Why does that go big, but then down here it's... Fuck. Okay. Cool. Why could that be a problem for a shooting pilot, let's say? Still getting used to the aircraft, and they put flaps down here because they're too high. What's going to happen up later on in the circuit?
They undershoot.
Yeah, okay, undershoot, right? But you put flaps 10 or flaps 20 here, and they get to this point, and then they go bang because they're crashing to the ground because they've lost their altitude very quickly. Obviously, it's as appropriate. So that is one way to do it if you're incredibly high, sure.
Yeah.
Just try to get them in the habit of checking, can I make the field? And if they can make the field, then start to take flaps. Don't prevent them from taking flaps before they've actually checked that they will make it, and they need to be aware of the effect that flaps are going to have on that wide distance.
Yeah.
Cool. So the main one we can do are S-turns, right? Exactly as we discussed. We can go out like this, we can come back in. If we want, we can do smaller ones. We can go out, and we can come back in, and we can go out, and we can come back in.
Yeah.
Another way,
Side slip?
Side slip.
Probably not for a student.
we don't really teach, I don't even teach side slips anymore. But I don't think you can even, you're not supposed to side slip a 172 apparently.
You know.
Apparently, that's what I've been told.
I see it all the time, man.
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah,
I was told, I was taught it.
I did it in my training.
Yeah,
It was
I did.
part of learning how to get there if you needed to. You could.
Yeah.
I did exactly the same.
Maybe increase the base leg and
Okay. So this way?
yeah, come this way.
You could increase your speed. It'll shorten the glide distance.
Okay, but the only problem with that is how do you judge it? How do you judge how much speed you need to increase by? So if you say, okay, I'm going to glide at 75 miles an hour, or 85 miles, what happens if you crash early because you're not sure exactly what the effect it's going to have? Want to try and keep it somewhere easy for the student to understand, and so that they can visually see what the effect of their actions have on the circuit. So as you said, extend the base leg, right? That was one of the first ones I brought up. Depends how high you are, really. It's all dependent on the situation. But if you're a little bit high here, sure, extend base, come back, and turn final like that. That's probably the main way that a student will understand it. If they're really high up here, then S-turns are good. If they're a little bit higher here, just extend and then back, okay? When you know you're going to make the field, check the speed, take flaps. Check the field, make sure you're going to make it. Okay, we're going to make it. Okay, flaps 20. Are we going to make it? Flaps 30, okay? And then we get to this point here. That way. Cool. So, going around, can you tell me when do we need to go around?
500 feet AGL.
100 feet AGL.
There's two different answers. You say 600?
500
Okay, so there's two of the same answers.
AGL.
Okay, cool. So that would be in the training area, so the elevation is 100 feet.
Sorry, 600.
So, approaching that altitude, get students to have a look at the altimeter. Check 600 feet. Okay, we're approaching that, get ready to go around. We'll walk you through that during the actual flight. Cool. Water landings. So this is not really going to happen, hopefully, for any of you, and might not be applicable for an RPL student at the moment, but it might be once they get their license and go to rightness if they want to. So let's say we've got retractable undercarriage. We're going to land gear up or gear down?
Gear up.
Gear up.
When we inflate our life jacket,
When outside the aircraft, when you're in the water, coming outside.
Yeah,
after landing,
Ditching.
inside the airplane or outside the airplane?
Outside.
Okay. So make that clear to your student.
This gets started.
Yes, so explain to them that there have been cases, even in WA up north, of planes ditching in the water and the passengers of a certain demographic, they're locals, call them locals. They pull parachute, no, not parachute. They pull the life jacket inside the aeroplane. Okay, and you imagine what happens if you got all that air in your life jacket when you're stuck inside the fuselage of an aeroplane and the water's filling up, where are you going to go? You're going to go up, right? You're not going to be able to swim out. You're going to get stuck, pinned against the ceiling, you're going to drown. Really important. They know this, and they know to tell their passengers this as well. Right, landing on the water, we've got let's say there's no coastline here, because that would defeat the point of this. Let's say we're in the middle of the ocean, and we've got the waves here. Out of these three directions, parallel, perpendicular in either direction, which one would you choose to land in?
Parallel.
Probably this way. Perpendicular in the direction of the wave.
That way?
Yeah.
Okay. Why's that?
Because it's gonna help me land smoothly and I'm not landing against the wave direction, so we can flip. Or same when if I'm parallel, the wing might tip over.
Okay. It's not the worst idea if you have to. The way that I see it, I mean, this one here is probably the worst option because you're crashing into the wave. The way I see it, if that wave is that tall in this direction, it's also going to be that tall in that direction.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be as hard of an impact, but you're still going to hit the wave head on. I would probably say land with parallel in the same direction. It's up to you. That's just, I think it's the most sensible option so you're not crashing straight into a wave because hitting water at that speed is going to be like crashing into a brick wall. I mean, you're going to be landing a fixed gear plane in the water, so it's not going to be a pretty sight anyway. So, yeah, just don't do it. There you go. Don't have an engine failure over water. Cool. So, threat error management. So, traffic is really important. Now, yes, traffic comes up on every brief, and you see traffic around when you're doing straight level climbing, descending, whatever. Really important in PFLs because there's going to be other aircraft probably landing in the same fields as you are, especially in training area. So you look outside, you do a really good look out before the maneuver, you're looking out throughout the maneuver. Every single turn, you're checking right, center, left, or whatever direction you're going, and look below you. Because a lot of people just look outside and above, but there's three other airplanes trying to land into the field that you've picked, and it does happen. So we'll look out, maintain effective lookout, and listen on the appropriate frequencies. What were they?
119.1, 135.
135. Okay. And
So when you're doing that lookout, so it's more the instructor is doing the look before you do a practice engine failure, is that?
yes, you would definitely look out before you pull it.
So you know that it's clear,
Yes.
and you do it.
Yeah.
You would still want the student to be looking out for aircraft as well?
Yeah, but
Obviously.
there's still going to be aircraft transiting in and out of Jandakot. They might be flying past you as you're doing it. It might be higher up. There's some factor. But the main thing you want to look for before you start the maneuver is are there other airplanes down there that are doing PFLs? It didn't happen. I happened on a flight test last week. I was doing a PFL onto a field, and there was two other aircraft doing an approach into the exact same field at the same time as me. The exact same field, like all the fucking training area,
Yeah.
and they just come up behind us and start circling.
That's the problem with the training area. Like it's people, it's like the stalling for us.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there to do the stall.
Exactly. It's not me.
So if everyone's doing stalls on that day, you've got 5 aircraft doing stalls.
Yeah.
All to the same, at the same height.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really important that we're looking at. If I can give you any advice for that, if you see traffic anywhere near the area that you're going to practice this force landing, just climb back up to 3,000, go away, find another field and find another area. It's not worth risking a collision. Low level altitude, so this can happen if we don't measure height. We need to, the undesired aircraft state is flying anywhere below 500 feet AGL, and the training area is going to be 600 feet in the altimeter. So we need to make sure that we anticipate that go around before we actually get to 600. So as instructors, you should be trying to get your students on top of the ball and getting them to go around beforehand. And engine overcooling. So I mentioned to both of you about warming the engine every 500 feet, and that's just bringing the power up into the green arc, maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and bringing it back out again. If you happen to fuck up your demonstration, you're a bit too low, maybe just give it an extra good warm. Just bring that power up to the green arc, just need to give it a little bit more heat,
Yeah.
and then bring it back out again, and you get yourself a little bit more distance, okay? So that can cause an engine failure. I'm sure you know about overcooling an engine, and shocking it and cracking the engine and that sort of thing, shock cooling. So we don't want that to happen. As well as that, not applicable to KXW, but Whiskey Wing Tango has something on it that KXW doesn't. And what is that in terms of the engine?
Carburetor.
Okay, so what's the big threat going to be there if we've got a carbureted engine over a fuel injected engine and we don't warm it every going?
Icing.
Yep.
Icing.
That's pretty much it. So on a cold day with high humidity, we could get carburetor icing at 30, on a day of high humidity, you can get carburetor icing even if it's like 20 or 30 degrees outside. It just has to, the conditions just have to be right inside the carburetor. So you want to apply carburetor heat if it's like that. We don't really teach to use carburetor heat in the summer because it's just another thing for them to worry about. It's not really required. Just depends where you're flying, and I mean, just teach them good habits from the start.
So you use carburetor heat in.
When I teach students in the summer, or when we both teach students in the summer, we don't even use it. It's just not required. But as we get into the winter, I'm starting to use it a little bit more because we get days where it's raining and high humidity and that sort of thing, and the temperature's colder.
Yeah, because when I did mine, it was every descent carburetor heat.
Yeah.
So it's just not like that anymore.
It is.
That's what
It is the proper way to teach. I just think at the moment, when we're in the summer, you just don't need it. It's 40 degrees outside and the humidity is like 50%. You're not going to get icing. So just use it when required and tell them to make that judgment accordingly, I suppose. The main thing is we don't want them to have an engine failure. And part of this leads back into the circuit diagram and into planning the approach. You need to make sure both yourself and the student are actually going to make the field that you pick. Because if you get an engine failure halfway down, you need to commit to actually landing in that field. So there's no point in picking a field that's going to be shit, you're going to die in, because this could really happen during that descent. Tolerances, as I've said, everything that I said earlier applies here as well. So just bring that stuff up for the student. Air exercise. So start up, once you've pre-flighted, come and grab me, we'll go out to the aeroplane. We'll go through you will go through the startup, through the checklist, and start the aircraft taxis out to the run-up bay. After that, you can taxi us the runway and you can take off. Ask the questions about, I've done this twice today, so just ask the same questions. Ask about which circuit direction it is, where we're turning, what altitude we're coming up to. What points are we going to be looking for? This is lesson 4? No, this is not lesson 4.
Oh yeah, we skipped a few.
This is
Level 7, right?
This is lesson 12. This is towards the end of the RPL syllabus.
Yeah.
And so they should be really doing quite a lot of this. So
Yeah, there's a lot of use on there.
yeah, exactly, there's a lot of use. So try and question their knowledge because they probably will be going for training area solos soon. Or pretty much after this is done, it's training area solo.
Yeah.
So you need to know that they have a good understanding of where they're going when they're departing, how to find Jandakot if they get lost, and that sort of thing. Just try and prep them for that. So you take off, ask them about questions on departing, Jandakot Lake, Thompson's Lake, when can you climb? Try and get them to tell you where the steps are for the altitude on the way up. Tell them, okay, get me up to 3,000 feet and bring me towards the north of the Stalling Forest. That's pretty much the area there where we do all of our PFLs, and we see that during the flight when we do that. We'll go through the PFLs, so I'll demonstrate one to you. You can watch and monitor, you can follow through on the controls if you want to. After I've demonstrated one, I'll give control to you, you'll climb us back up to 3,000, and then I'll walk you through one. You'll fly the aeroplane, and I will walk you through it. Then finally, I want you to do one yourself, so I'll just monitor you. Get us back up to 3,000 feet in the initial position that we were, and start the PFL, and I will just take notes, and I'll watch, and I'll see if there's any errors or anything like that. After we've done that, we'll come back into Jandakot, question them on their knowledge on the way back in. How do you get into Oakford, Forest Lake, Jandakot, what circuit? You'll be doing all of the return, you'll be doing all the landing. After we've landed, I make the radio call tactics and shut down as per the checklist, and it's all you. And then you say, I'm happy with that. Hopefully they say yes. You're done.
Yeah.
Cool. That's the long break.
Oh.